Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The film kicks off in a university classroom where we meet Gary Johnson. Gary is giving a lecture on Nietzsche to his students, focusing on the idea of putting yourself out there. One student resonates with this, interpreting it as the need to take risks in life. Gary agrees but is quickly distracted when he overhears a conversation between two other students mocking his car. This subtle jab makes Gary question whether he's truly embodying the philosophy he's teaching. Has he really put himself out there? He begins narrating his life, which is fairly uneventful. He lives alone, accompanied only by his two cats, Ide and Ego, and his routine feels safe, almost mundane. However, Gary has an unusual hobby that spices up his ordinary life. He works with the New Orleans Police Department. His role? Helping to catch people who attempt to hire contract killers. Normally, this task falls to an undercover cop named Jasper, but Jasper is currently suspended for getting into trouble. He roughed up some teenagers. With Jasper out of commission, detectives Claudette and Phil decide that Gary, despite his nerves and lack of field experience, should take over Jasper's role in this dangerous operation. Although Gary is understandably scared that posing as a hitman could get him killed, he agrees to take on the challenge. In his first undercover assignment, Gary assumes the identity of Billy and meets with a potential client named Craig. Despite initial doubts from Claudette and Phil, Gary surprises them and himself by fully immersing into his new character. He transforms into a menacing, almost deranged hitman so convincingly that even Craig believes he's the real deal. After Craig explicitly asks Billy to carry out a hit, Gary collects the payment and the police swoop in to arrest Craig. Gary's success in this operation boosts his confidence and he quickly becomes the go-to guy for catching would-be killers. He continues taking on different personas to suit each client, posing as various hitmen and successfully getting suspects arrested. This new double life even begins to affect his teaching. His students start to pay more attention in class, perhaps sensing that there's more to their mild-mannered professor than meets the eye. Despite his newfound success, the job comes with complications. Some of the people Gary helps to catch accuse him of entrapment, forcing him to testify in their trials. While many are convicted and sentenced, some manage to escape jail time. For example, one woman who tried to hire Gary to kill her husband was acquitted when her husband forgave her, or due to insufficient evidence. Gary's next assignment is a woman named Madison Figueroa Masters, whose case piques his interest. As he investigates, he finds little information on her past before she married her husband Ray, and she has no criminal record. Gary, now going by the alias Ron, meets Madison in a diner. She explains that she can't stand being married to Ray any longer and wants him dead. But instead of taking her money, Gary becomes smitten with Madison and urges her not to go through with the plan. He convinces her to use the money to start a new life instead of risking everything by hiring a hitman. Claudette and Phil, however, are not pleased with Gary's decision to let her walk free. Meanwhile, Jasper returns from his suspension only to find out that the police department prefers Gary's work over his own. A sergeant wants to keep Jasper out of sight to avoid tarnishing their reputation further, which leaves Jasper bitter about being replaced by someone like Gary. Despite his role as an undercover cop, Gary begins to blur the lines between his professional life and personal feelings. Madison reaches out to him again, inviting Ron to a dogged auction event. Although Gary is a cat lover, he meets her at the fair, and the two hit it off even more. Madison tells him that she's divorcing Ray, and as she observes Gary interacting with kids and dogs at the park, she realizes he's less of a hardened criminal and more of a personable, relatable guy. This attraction culminates in the two spending the night together, deepening their connection. However, things take a turn when Gary's secret relationship with Madison puts him in a precarious position. During a date with Madison, they are spotted by Ray, who is drunk and in the company of a friend. Furious at the sight of his ex-wife with another man, Ray tries to confront them and threatens Madison. In a tense moment, Gary pulls out a gun, which makes Ray back off. Shortly after, they go to grab a bite to eat, but Gary grows uneasy when he sees Jasper nearby. Jasper approaches them, only addressing Gary as a former co-worker, without spilling the beans about his real identity or revealing the dangerous life Gary is now leading. This turn of events leaves Gary in a tricky situation, trying to balance his work undercover, his budding relationship with Madison, and keeping his professional life a secret from the people around him. Gary, a man of the questionable past, finds himself drawn back into the dangerous world of contract killing when he receives a call from a mysterious client who introduces himself as Mike. However, Gary soon discovers that Mike is actually Ray, an old acquaintance who wants Gary to eliminate his ex-girlfriend Madison and her new boyfriend. Instead of complying, Gary reveals his true identity to Ray, unnerving him enough to make him flee the diner before he can incriminate himself. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Gary goes directly to Madison's house to warn her that Ray has sinister plans against her life. Not long after, Gary receives startling news at the police station. The surgeon informs him that Ray was found dead, apparently killed in a botched drug deal. Concerned, Gary rushes to inform Madison, only to be shocked when she admits that she was the one who shot Ray after learning from Gary that Ray wanted her dead. In a dramatic twist, Harry confesses that he was never actually a hitman, and that his entire persona was a lie. Enraged by his deception, Madison demands that he leave immediately. The plot thickens as the police turn their attention to Madison, naming her the prime suspect in Ray's murder. It comes to light that Ray had recently increased his life insurance policy by $1 million, with Madison as the sole beneficiary. To gather evidence, the police devise a plan to have Gary, now wired, get Madison to confess. What they don't know is that Madison is aware of Gary's betrayal. When Gary arrives at Madison's house, he discreetly uses his phone to alert her that the police are eavesdropping on their conversation. Madison, quick on her feet, plays along, convincingly denying any involvement and successfully evading the police's trap for the time being. However, things take another turn when Gary returns to Madison's house and finds Jasper, another cop, waiting there. Jasper reveals his intention to blackmail them, demanding a share of Ray's insurance money in exchange for his silence. Madison, showing no fear, offers Jasper a beer, which he unsuspectingly accepts. As he lays out his plan, his speech becomes slurred and his strength wanes. Madison has spiked his drink. Worried about the consequences of drugging a police officer, she panics, but Gary steps in, placing a plastic bag over Jasper's head. Together, they decide to stage his death as a suicide, arguing that, as a known junkie with a bad reputation, no one would miss him. In a twisted show of devotion, they profess their love for each other just as Jasper takes his final breath. Years later, Gary's life has changed dramatically. It's expanded his teaching, now conducting classes in a larger venue with more students. He and Madison are married, raising 2 children and 2 dogs together. During a family moment, their daughter innocently asks how her parents met. Smiling, they skip over the darker details, instead spinning a sweet story of a chance meeting at a cafe that changed their lives forever. The movie ends with a heartfelt dedication to the real Gary Johnson, who passed away in 2022. A beloved college professor, war veteran, and animal-loving Buddhist, he led an extraordinary life devoid of any criminal undertakings. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our future content. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you found it helpful, and feel free to share it with your friends who might also enjoy it. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts or what you'd like to see next. Your support really helps the channel grow, so thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.